Okay, when I first posted this video, I thought I'd found a code or pattern in the way the letters printed with people, animals, and mythological creatures are being used in the 1611 King James Bible. But then Ron Raphael sent me high-resolution images of other letters that also have similar characteristics, and now I'm not sure what it all means, if anything. Honestly, I couldn't see what was there in my facsimile, but the high-res images showed, for example, this strange dragon with the man's face on the letter N, and what looks like another kind of dragon on the letter T. So if I get it figured out, if there's anything to figure out, I'll share what I find. In the first part of that video, I showed what I had found on the Frontispiece. I believe it's a legitimate code, so I'm posting it again now and including some additional things that weren't part of the original. I've made several videos showing what I believe are clues that Edward de Vere is being recognized for some reason in the 1611 King James Bible. Though he was supposed to have died in 1604, there was never a formal announcement, and his second wife Elizabeth and son Henry de Vere made no mention of it until 1610. The sonnets were published in 1609, and as Alexander Waz demonstrated, there's a map to his grave hidden within the dedication that has him buried at Westminster's. Instead of 1604, I think it's more likely he died in 1608 or possibly early 1609. He could have worked on the Bible for years, and though I'm not saying he's responsible for the entire book, it is generally agreed that it reads like Shakespeare wrote it. Something I just found is on the frontispiece. After the title, there are two capital T's printed within the inscription. This caught my attention because there are two T's on the cover of the sonnet's dedication and in the verse. Notice that the two T's begin with the words translated and translations. Let's find out why. In his video, Sweet Swan of Avon, Petter Amundsen shows how a letter O printed over a T represents a rosy cross. The O is round like a rose, the T is shaped like a cross, rose, cross. The code is found between the two capital T's and the rose. From the first T to the O or rose are 17 characters. Then, if we count all of the characters between the two T's and the rows, including the dots of the colon and the and, there are a total of 40 characters. 17 and 40, Edward de Vere's Earl and code number. Remember, the two T's begin the words translated and translations. The first thing people see is the frontispiece, and it's telling us that the King James Bible was translated by 1740 Edward de Vere and the Rosy Cross. Also, the word translated is the 12th word of the inscription. There are 12 letters in the name Edward de Vere, but also, as I've shown in several videos using Gematria, 12 is equal to the letter M. In Hebrew, M is mem, which is equivalent to 40. Translations is the 22nd word. 22 is twice 11. So translated and translations are being connected to 40, de Vere's code number, and twice 11, which I believe refers to the Rosy Cross fraternity or an organization related to them. The only other capital letter in the same font printed outside of where the code is the letter N. I don't know if the N is a Latin abbreviation for nota, meaning note, as in take note of, but if we include it with what's encoded between the two letter T's and the O, maybe it means note, as in take note of, 1740 Rosy Cross. I know that NB means nota bene or note well, but I don't know if an N is ever used by itself like that, so I'm just guessing. If someone knows, maybe leave a comment below. Whatever the case, we have the message 1740 between two T's for Edward de Vere, with a letter O over one of them for Rosy Cross. And the words translated and translations connected to 40 and twice 11. Something else I want to add that I think suggests Rosicrucian or Freemasonic design is that, including the year, there are a total of 53 words. Using the repeated count, 53 equals 3-letter G's. I've always found it interesting and a bit telling that there are 3-letter G's in a triangle on the first page of Richard III. The page number is 173, or Edward de Vere's Earl number 17 times 3, but that's a subject for another time. Again, there are 53 words in the Bible Frontispiece inscription, and it's a significant number for Masons because at the center of the 47th problem of Euclid, there's a 3, 4, 5 right triangle with one of the angles being 53 degrees. Other than solving the Pythagorean theorem, for Masons, and I'm just quoting from a couple articles off the internet, the 47th problem of Euclid is about the importance of establishing an architecturally true or correct foundation based on use of the square. It teaches Masons to be general lovers of the arts and sciences, but also the ancients believed that the mental process involved in solving this problem would train the geometer for higher levels of consciousness. Curiously, the 47th word in the inscription is kings. And using Gematria, the letters for Vere, V-E-R-E, equal 47. But that could be a coincidence, I'm just pointing it out. The codes continue on the first page of the dedication, which I explained in videos 26 and 27. And one of my favorites is on the first page of Genesis. I go into more detail in video 29 and its addendum, but I'll review this one here. In Genesis, the first words God says are, "Let there be light." The Latin translation of this phrase, fiat lux, is also encoded in the marked sonnet numbers covered in the first two videos. After God speaks, there are 17 lines till the end of the column. The next column is 40 lines and ends with the words over, with an apostrophe printed above the letter O. O with an apostrophe is another way of writing of, O-F. In French and other languages, of is pronounced de. So O with an apostrophe, V-E-R, is of Vere, the English equivalent of de Vere, 1740 de Vere. The first page of Genesis has fiat lux 1740, de Vere's Earl and code number, and his name as the last word on the page. The one letter I want to address is the letter A. It's only used once, and originally I couldn't tell at all what was going on with it. I thought there was something, but all I could make out was the spiral ladder in the upper left-hand corner, and that it's the last letter in the Bible printed with any kind of unusual design. Ron was able to show there's a phoenix here, which makes it all the more interesting because a phoenix is a symbol of rebirth. So why is it here in Revelation 13, the chapter with the verse that tells us the number of the beast? If it wasn't the typesetter being random, then choosing this particular character to begin this chapter seems kind of strange. Anyway, I can't edit a video once it's on YouTube, and I wanted to repost what I found on the frontispiece. It fits perfectly within the framework of 1740 and twice 11, therefore I believe it's a legitimate Edward de Vere Rosy Cross message. Thanks again to Ron Raffel for the information he's provided, and to you for watching.